Why, hello once again.
We meet again.
It's time for another rollicking episode of Exiles TV. I'm Kevin Gallagher along with Bill Profita. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. And
I see
you?
you got the blue jacket memo. It's good to know.
Yeah, I got the rather dark navy. You've got the more
More of a medium tone.
yes.
This has got actual several colors in it.
Yes, it's an all-purpose. It goes with almost anything.
It's like gold medal.
Yeah,
The all-purpose.
it's a self-rising jacket.
So,
Is today actually the first day of school? I saw all kinds of school
I've
buses
seen
tramping through the neighborhood.
some schools, this is the first day of school. And I don't think all of them, but I'm glad to see them going back to school, albeit on abbreviated, because my niece and my nephew were explaining this to me the other day. It's so many days in the classroom, so many days of home study. I don't know. At least they're back at school.
I think they ought to get them in there under that premise, lock the doors from the outside, put food, water, and vitamins under the damn door, and just leave. I've liked not having school buses and high school kids on the road. I have enjoyed that.
But I think some people really liked having their kids in school and not having to deal with daycare
That's what I'm
situations.
saying. Lock them in. Lock them in.
Lock 'em in. And give them all the cone of shame. If you're worried about, if you put the cone of shame on every kid, you'll be able to hear them speak. But if they cough or sneeze, cone of shame. And just put every one of them in the cone of
But
shame.
you can isolate in those big school buildings.
Do if I would have seen this coming, you know what I would have invested in? Plexiglass. I would have invested in plexiglass. Because, the people that make plexiglass are making a killing.
Oh, yeah.
It's going up everywhere,
I love
including in
Lucite.
schools.
Yes.
I love Lucite, including in schools. But I think sooner or later we're just going to have to suck it up, Buttercup, and start running schools like we used to.
So I did a naughty yesterday. I couldn't help myself. There's this lady, and she was a very interesting looking lady. I'd say she was probably 70, and she was very short and about as broad as she was tall. And she had one of those face shields, and she had the kind that says face shield on it. You can read it as you're coming. And she kind of looked like, a 1940s World War II era welder. And we happened to be coming down the same aisle at the Walmart. And I said, hey, while you're here, I got a question for you about a weld that I think is a little faulty. What can I look for?
You didn't.
I did.
You're so mean.
She looked at me like I was from Uranus, and I said, "Kidding. I'm talking about the mask, the
face shield.
the face shield." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't get it." I said, "Yeah,
Yeah. Well, there's very little humor about
that
wearing the
one.
mask.
That one needs work."
There's very little humor among the mask wearers about wearing the mask or the face shield.
Well,
They
I
don't
found that
think it's funny at all.
there's very little humor in general in short, chubby women.
Wow. Okay.
It's just my
Good
experience.
night, folks.
Just my experience.
By the way, for you Media Matters people who want to lift that out and use it against him, there'll be a replay at 10 o'clock.
Oh, come on. A little levity. Of course, those of you chubby don't understand levity. You don't understand leavening either. Let's just pile it on. What do you say?
But the mask controversy goes on, especially when we have there's the no mask crowd. There's the people like myself that will wear the mask because they don't want anybody else. I don't want I just don't want to deal with you being upset with me. I don't want to deal with the angry looks, the scoldings and things like that. So if it'll make you feel better, sure. Got one right here. It goes on when I go in a store, public place. Yeah, okay, shut up. But I'm along with the people of Holland to say they don't believe that a mask does a damn thing.
But these are also the people who believe in handing out heroin syringes every morning in their big Central Park in Amsterdam.
But look at their COVID history and their numbers. They didn't do any isolation. They didn't do any social distancing. They didn't wear masks. They've had relatively few infections.
As beings, they are so damn filthy, the virus fears them.
Well, I won't argue that point. You've actually been there.
Oh, I have.
Not me. But the people of Holland say masks don't do a damn thing. Why you make people wear them? The people of Germany are marching in the streets 1 million deep. Over what? They don't want to wear masks anymore.
Well, it's also just something
They want their the
Germans do it every 40 years. They march 1 million deep.
Like this, they want their bars open. They want their movie theaters open. They want to go back to life as they know it.
Yeah.
And can you blame people for that?
Well, no, but eventually it'll happen.
I want the movie theaters to open. I want to be able to go to the bar, belly up to the bar, and have a couple of cocktails if I want to.
The thing is, we have shown time and time and time and time again in the modern era that people carping and bitching and whining doesn't accomplish anything.
Gets things done. Vietnam War. Enough people took to the streets to carp and bitch and whine. Next thing you know, Congress got us out of Vietnam.
No, what happened there was we had tapped out the military-industrial complex under Lyndon Johnson's thoughts to where it didn't much matter anymore.
All right, we tested all our new toys, boys. We can come home now.
Jesus, we were headed for a deep recession, and one of the cures for war, or for a recession, is let's start a war.
Mm-hmm. It always has been.
Yeah.
Didn't help us though much with the Gulf War, did it?
Well, we didn't do it right.
Yeah. All right, it's time for our first break.
We had a bunch of people say, "Oh, I don't want to go in there and kill any more people. I'm done."
Time for our first break of the hour.
Really?
By the way, our guest today, we're going to talk with Steve Carter, who was a surprising last-minute entry into the race to be mayor-president of East Baton Rouge, the state's most populous parish. And in our second hour,
H. Michael Aaron, we call him Mike. He is a very, very interesting attorney at law. He specializes in mediation. And what's interesting is his business has been booming since the stay-at-home order. And we're going to tell you what a mediator does. It may actually help you if you have some conflicts or pending lawsuits. But he's going to tell us why mediators like him have been booked and booked and booked and booked and booked because of COVID-19. Mm-hmm. Might be interesting for you. And he's a great guy. He's fun to listen to.
I always thought a mediator was like when a shooting star comes down and then it lands and then you pick it up. It's a mediator.
No, that's a mediator, all right.
Okay.
It's related to the all right of potatoes.
Thanks for
because they look like mediator all right.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in
find
just
them at the library.
At the library.
It's the library.
TV.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
State Treasurer John Schroeder, encouraging you to visit latreasury.com to search for your unclaimed property money. During this pandemic, we've returned money to businesses, local governments, and people across Louisiana.
New Orleans Habitat for Humanity found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Treasury.
Audubon Nature Institute has unclaimed property.
I found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Department of Treasury.
We still have over $800 million. This is your money. Claim it.
Look up to the skies as soon as I
Welcome back. It's Exiles TV. Bill over there, Kevin over here. Let's play. Let's have some fun here. I want to borrow from our friend Clarence Buggs, and let's play a game called "What Does Your Gut Tell You?"
Oh,
Bill Profita.
now you told me about your dinner last night. I already know what your gut's telling you.
Well, my gut was talking to me most of the night, but I won't get it out. Don't want to get into that. But
not that
No,
way.
what I'm curious about is, Bill. We haven't really talked about this on the podcast or anything else, but there was this massive, incredibly huge explosion in Beirut, Lebanon. I think the death toll somewhere north of 80. Thousands injured. Some are saying it might be the largest non-nuclear explosion in modern history. What does your gut tell you? Accident or attack?
You know what? It was. I think they've settled on the fact that it was a fireworks warehouse that went at the port. But that doesn't mean it wasn't deliberate.
It was. Here's what I'm hearing. It was a fireworks warehouse wherein, coincidentally, Hezbollah was stockpiling ammonium nitrate to be used in some kind of a manure bomb motion against a Western target at some point. Not a Western target, an Israeli target. So
I find it very hard to believe at this point, with the lack of information, that it's simply an accident. And I think that you're going to have intelligence services from all over the Western world
hell.
that are going over this with a fine-tooth comb. I would not be a bit surprised to hear that this was a deliberate act. But now who? Hezbollah, ISIS, it could be the opposition party in Lebanon.
I find the theory of it being material intended to be used somewhere else that went up accidentally to be somewhat plausible. I mean, I don't have a problem thinking Hezbollah was stockpiling this stuff and was going to use it against an Israeli target. But then something happened.
Oh, boy.
Ammonium nitrate, you get it wet. It's like Gremlins after midnight. You get ammonium nitrate wet and it's nothing but trouble.
Well, and again, they must not have any good bomb makers anymore, because you don't store that stuff in that kind of quantity in what is basically a silo building. I mean, you're just asking for a big kaboom.
Did you see the before and after aerial pictures?
Oh.
That showed the warehouse, and there was some kind of a silo next door to it that's been stripped down from the explosion. It looks like a rocky, like a promontory. It looks like Masada, but the building is completely gone, and there is a huge crater where the building used to be.
I saw a video of a bride to be, and she was 2 miles, and it almost looked like a comedy movie. She was okay, I understand, but it turned her a cartwheel twice in her big wedding dress, because they were doing videos for her, and she was posing for the video
and then
camera,
the shockwave hit.
And the shockwave hit. And what I found interesting was that all that was coming down the street, unlike 9/11, which was a tremendous impact and a Jet A, which is basically kerosene fire, that there wasn't anything big coming in that wave, which means all of it was consumed. Everything that was flammable was consumed,
vaporized
at the point of impact or at the point of ignition.
Just incredible. The video from there's several pieces of video that were just caught because cameras are rolling on stuff all the time. The visible shockwave is breathtaking. There's a shot from about 5 miles out where you could just see the size of that explosion and mushroom cloud. It really is amazing.
Well,
I noticed that the president yesterday morning used the word attack. It's like, is that a supposition? Because Donald sometimes he shoots from the lip. So is that just a supposition on his part, or does he know something that the world doesn't yet know?
I think he's probably supposing. But here's what's interesting. Lebanon's leaders ordered the arrest of several port officials. Now, people in Lebanon, both in government and ordinary citizens, say that the port is chronically mismanaged, that they are careless as a rule, and that the Port of Beirut Customs Office is notorious for being one of the most corrupt and lucrative institutions in Lebanon for various factions and politicians, including Hezbollah, and they all, and this is their quote, hold sway over the port of Beirut. So it was 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate.
By the way, something very, very similar happened in Tianjin, China in 2015. And it was a warehouse, and again, it was a substance that explodes when it gets wet, and the warehouse had a leaking roof, and next thing you know, explosions of a biblical proportion. And this port city was, half of it was leveled. Just incredible. So, I don't know. My gut tells me at this point, possible accident.
Well, and I would like to know more, and I think we will eventually. But, for example, in this country now, if you buy ammonium nitrate, rather than just a bag of fertilizer for your plants at home, a 10-pound bag, if you want to go buy 100 pounds of ammonium nitrate, it has little markers in it. So if it goes boom somewhere,
It could be traced to where you bought it.
it can be traced to where you bought it, who you bought it from, and who you are. Now, this being Beirut, and it was sitting in there for 6 years. Which, again, if you're running a port, how do you let something sit in one of your offloading silos for 6 years?
I would think if you're running a port, your job is to turn that real estate over.
But I don't know if this particular ammonium nitrate, being that part of the world, has these markers that are required in most of the Western world. Everybody likes to think that Lebanon is this wonderful, peaceful, and beautiful cultural mixture of Western Europe and Northern Africa. And these people have been at war with each other for 70 years. And whenever there's a change in government, there's a change in power. I mean, it can be a very violent place and a very unsettling place. But, I mean, if we called the managers of the Port of New Orleans and the Port of Baton Rouge and the Port of Lake Charles and said, hey, can I park 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate at your port for, say, 5-6 years? What do you think they'd tell us?
Oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. Interesting. Beirut is enjoying a period of relative health and stability right now, but we all know the history of Beirut, Lebanon. And it is a place where you have all these different factions that don't love each other, tend to slam into one another from time to time.
Well, our audience can't see this, but you can see this. This is the bride that was taking her pictures. The explosion.
Oh, you've got video?
Oh, yeah. The explosion is coming from behind her.
Tell you what, hold on to that. We'll take a break. You can push play on that while we're in commercial break. And we're going to do that right now. By the way, when we come back, we're going to talk once again about the race to be mayor president of East Baton Rouge Parish. Sharon Weston Broom would like another term, but people like Steve Carter are challenging. And we'll talk with Steve, former member of the legislature, next on Exiles TV.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For Total Pest Control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you with us this morning on this Thursday morning. First day of school for a number of schools. Some are going to start on Monday, from what I hear. And they're all doing some sort of a mix of in-person and online. We will see how that plays out as it plays out. But we have got an election, a big one coming up in November. The presidential election, the congressional elections, a third of the Senate. In the Baton Rouge area, the mayor-president's office is on the ballot. Mayor-President Sharon Weston Broome would like a second term. And there are 7 challengers that would like to unseat her. One of them is a face that you know very well. Former State Representative Steve Carter served many, many terms. And Steve has qualified for the race. And Steve, welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Great to see you two guys. It's been a while.
Yeah. We heard from a lot of people who are very politically astute. One of them sitting right here where you are. And he said during a break, when Steve Carter entered that race, all the air went out of the room. Simply because of your record of representing the Baton Rouge area very, very well when you were at the legislature.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, I've never been in political office before, and I really enjoyed being in the legislature. Mm-hmm. And the reason I enjoyed being in the legislature was because I like helping people. Mm-hmm. And I had a passion, obviously, as you guys know, because y'all have always had me on the show to talk about some of the controversial things that I did. But education, because of kids, I had a tennis camp, ran probably 11,000 kids through my camp. I love kids, and we need to improve our educational system. The other, which was controversial, that you guys gave me a hard time about, was the gasoline tax. But again, I'm willing to tackle tough things.
It wasn't because we were against it. We just knew it was going to be a tough sell for you, Steve.
True. And I recognize the fact that I'm not really pro-tax, but in this situation where you had a large $14 billion deficit, we had to do something. And you know, at the time, it probably wasn't good timing, as you guys, we talked about. But as it turned out, with the gasoline prices getting so low, it may have been the right time because, you know, you really would have.
Well, they never really gave you a chance on that.
Right.
And they did not anticipate that gas prices were going to drop so much that it wasn't going to be as onerous as
Correct.
people thought.
You're absolutely correct.
Because where we're paying $1.60 something now, with that tax, we'd be a little north of $2 and still
Correct.
consider that to be a damn sight better than $4
That's
that we
right.
had in 2008.
That's right. But and again, in the legislature, they had great people. I enjoyed working across party lines. I enjoyed tackling tough issues, and that's one of the reasons why I entered the mayor's race. I just love people. I've lived in Baton Rouge all of my life. Went to the public schools, went to the Air Force for 5 years, came back, was at LSU for a number of years, in the legislature for a number of years. I'm energetic. I have ideas, I think, and I'm welcoming any new ideas that anybody may have. And I'd look forward to having the opportunity to be the mayor.
There are people that would say, with all your years in education, and you didn't sit around your hands when you were in education, you were out there tackling issues as someone who is involved in the system and sees difference. And you were in the legislature, and you were never quiet. You saw what you needed to talk about, and you tried to get others to help you move things through. There are a lot of people that say, why doesn't Steve just relax? He's earned it.
Well, that's a great question. One of the reasons is because I love Baton Rouge, and I think we can do better. I'm not saying anything bad about the current mayor we have, but I think there are things that we can move forward and do even better. You know, back in the 70s, if you recall, Austin, Texas, and Baton Rouge were sort of on a par, and they're not now. And you ask why, and I'll ask a question like when I was in the legislature that bothered me was I go to Cincinnati for a tennis tournament every year. And they don't have one, they don't have two, they have 7 or 8 Fortune 500 companies. In Louisiana, to my knowledge, we may have one, but I'm not sure we have one. So why doesn't Baton Rouge try to get a medium-sized company to move here, do whatever it takes to get them here, and let them grow into a Fortune 500 company? Those are the kinds of things that I enjoy doing and I get energetic about.
That being said, in my opinion, over the last 10 years, Baton Rouge has been attempting to bring more companies in that are larger and can grow here and employ more people, and they've been attempting to bring people in outside of the petrochemical business. Fair enough. But I also see that there is a bias that they want a company that's going to represent a certain portion of the population as opposed to represent the gross dollar figures of what they're going to bring in. And I think that has stood in our way.
Right. Well, that may be true. I think that the chamber does a good job, and I think that Don Pearson does a good job with the state. But I think we can even do better.
But does the city parish do a good enough job?
Well,
I agree with you on the chamber and
well, as
Mr.
I understand it, they have the chamber and they pay them X number of dollars. They don't have someone in-house. They have someone who they hire, and I have a lot of confidence in Adam and their group. But we just need to think out of the box. I mean, I'm not sure who they've gone to. I'm not sure who's turned them down. The last real big company that I recall that came here, obviously through the state, was IBM. And we just need to find ways. And, a lot of it has to do, and I'm going to maybe step on toes here, we've got to do, obviously, a better job with our educational system. When companies come in, they look to see where their kids are going to go to school. And I think obviously we have a new superintendent, and we have to give them an opportunity. The other thing, obviously, is the traffic situation. I just can't understand, since Pat Screen, where they've had a number of dollars, as I understand it, that have been there to synchronize the lights and do the things that are necessary to get the traffic moving. Why are we still talking about it? Sharon just the other day said, we're going to synchronize the lights. Well, 4 years ago, I think she said we're going to synchronize the lights. We continually talk about it. Let's do the doggone thing.
Didn't we have synchronized lights at one point?
Yeah, and I think they were going to continue to improve it, and they have dollars to do it. And I'm just saying that if you're going to be a company, you're going to come in and you see the problems that we have. And another thing, I know a lot of people talk about this, but just infuriates me, is I just don't understand the litter. I don't understand the blight. And I know other candidates have talked about it, but when you leave the Baton Rouge Airport, if you come in there and you coming into the city.
Oh, I see it.
You need to have, and I tried when I was in the legislature, I thought of this too. I love Disney. I've been to the Masters. If you drop anything, little piece of paper, they'll rip you. I mean, it's pristine. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I tried in the legislature to say that any interstate that entered Louisiana for the first, say, half mile, it had to be manicured perfectly. It had to be clean. It had to have flowers out there. It had to have whatever. A lot of people would laugh at that, but I'm thinking first impression is critical. It's important.
So this is basically a Department of Public Works issue.
Correct.
To keep things cleaned up.
That's correct.
Are they underfunded?
Don't know that. I have to look at the budget a little bit more. But again, it all goes back to priorities. What are your priorities? You need to sit down and put your priorities together. And when you put your platform, which I'm in the process of doing right now, what is it that you want to see accomplished? And you can't be all things to all people. That's the problem. We don't have enough money. So what is the most important thing that we need to do in this city? And check it off. What's the second most important?
I agree with you that civic pride is something, we talk a good game with civic pride, and there's promos on TV, and, there's all this kinds of nonsense, but we don't live civic pride, and I think that's something you do. You've got to live it. And, you see the new litter now is the face masks. Laying in every parking
Rubber
lot.
gloves.
Yeah.
I cleaned 2 face masks out of the parking lot where we were doing our podcast at La Divina Italian Cafe yesterday. Just walked over, saw them laying there in the parking lot, picked them up, threw them away.
But I take your point, but Steve, to your point, I don't think that we've done a good enough job on things that matter to those who decide to relocate a business here. And I don't think that we ask them what matters to them. They come into town, we drive them around, we take them to the city club, and they get back and say, oh my God, did you see the trash laying in North Boulevard? Oh, and I watched the news in my hotel room. They had 16 murders in the last week. And what the city looks like, the crime rate, and something a mayor can't do much about, and that's education. But those are the most important things. If you want Mr. or Mrs. big business person to come to your city and say, I'm going to commit 1,000 employees and 60,000 square feet of vertical real estate, you damn well better have that crime rate under control, and there better not be dirt in the street in front of where they want to build.
Right. And I'm sure that Sharon recognizes that, but again, it's a matter of priority. And it also, you talk about education. I mean, if your educational system is up to speed, and again, that I was very much in favor of early childhood, and I really feel like if we can get the youngsters earlier, get them educated, talk to them about stuff like this. If you're educated, for the most part, you don't litter. And so those are types of things, but those are not easy things to tackle and solve. The crime situation, I'm talking to a lot of people about that. I don't have the answer to it. I recognize it's a problem, but by God, I'd rather live in Baton Rouge than Chicago or Portland or Seattle, the way things are going there right now. And certainly we don't want Baton Rouge to be like that. So, I mean, I just think that what needs to happen is you need to surround yourself with the right people. That's the key. If you've got good people that you surround yourself with, you've got good ideas, you got energetic people who want to see Baton Rouge be what it should be and could be, then I think you can accomplish it. I've always been an optimistic person, and I just believe that Baton Rouge is a great city. I just think it could be better. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, and again, I think we have to actually make an effort, and I don't mean the citizens. I mean DPW and the police force. I mean, I remember years and years ago when they started "Don't mess with Texas."
Oh yeah.
There were signs everywhere that said that, and they told you what the fine was. And I was there on a business trip, and I'm in my hotel room, and I'm watching the 6 o'clock news, and apparently they all did this every night at 6 o'clock. They said today, litter tickets were written to 250 people, totaling, $16,450 in fines. We're coming after you if you want to mess with Texas. But here we're like, we don't care.
I like that. That's pretty good.
We're going to take a brief pause, take care of a little bit of business, and return with Steve Carter, candidate for Mayor President of East Baton Rouge Parish, when Exiles TV returns.
So how you get?
That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. We are visiting with former State Representative Steve Carter, who is now candidate for Mayor President Steve Carter. And Steve, we've talked about economic development specifically for East Baton Rouge Parish.
Correct.
And crime is a big part of that. And Mayor Broom ran on replacing the chief of police. Before she was elected to office, this was her entire campaign. Now, I don't know that you can point the finger at this, but unfortunately for her and the new chief, crime has risen as opposed to what was happening under the chief that she campaigned to who have been replaced. And the point I'm trying to make is, where do you stand as you're looking at it now as a candidate? And what do you tell people when you're trying to persuade them to vote for you about public safety?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I haven't delved into it as much as I would like to. I hear good things about the chief, and I know, Mayor Broom, she doesn't like crime like anybody else. Nobody likes crime.
No.
So I'm sure that they're working on trying to do whatever it is that they need to do. One of the people that I have a lot of respect for that I'm going to visit with, because I know they've got some programs that they're trying to implement, is Hiller Moore. And Hiller and I are good friends. I'm going to talk to Hiller. I don't have the solution. I'm willing to talk to as many people as I possibly can. I'm not sure where the police are right now on trying to prevent the crime situation.
They need a raise.
So I won't debate that. And they probably need more police on the force, to be honest with you. And I would be for that too. Again, you go back from a monetary standpoint, how do you get the dollars? What do you do? And we have to delve into that. But you have to make sure that the chief and the police force are on the same page. Hopefully they are. Have to delve into it and make sure that they feel comfortable. You need to make sure that you have a game plan for them also. Is the game plan to do the things that are necessary, or are they sort of hesitant because of the problems that have occurred around the country, particularly in Minneapolis? And so you have to delve into it. You've got to bring the people together. You got to bring the African Americans and the white people together and sit there and figure it out. I know that you have 100 black men. I know they're working at it. A lot of people are working at it. Last night I had to go pick up some groceries real quick late, and a young man came out, and he says there's a coalition, African American young man, and would you be willing to visit with us and talk to us about them? Absolutely. I mean, it is a problem that needs to be resolved. Not only does that problem need to be resolved, but the problem with racial inequality needs to be resolved. What are we going to do to try to make sure that everybody lives together, loves each other, and cares about each other? I love everybody. I mean, you may think I'm crazy, but I mean, I thought I worked pretty good when I gave my farewell remarks to the legislature, I singled out Pat Smith. I said, Pat and I did not get along. Pat's heart's in the right place of trying to do the same thing that I'm trying to do to help kids, but we just attacked it differently. And so, I mean, Pat and I were never adversarial about each other, but she just differed. I just differed. I thought I was right. She thought she was right. And we worked together. And hopefully I was right. I don't know, because this time still has to be out to determine if some of the changes that we made are going to work. So you're right. We have to make sure that we attack the problem, and it is a problem. Is that more of a problem and a top priority than economic development? I think it is. I think it needs to be one of the top on the list when you start prioritizing things. And there's some other things that have been brought to my attention, because I've talked to a number of people. I mean, our drainage situation is bad. I mean, if you look at, I go down Corporate every day, and the drainage, the bayou or creek or whatever that crosses there, I mean, it needs to be cut. It needs to be dredged.
Mow the damn grass.
Yeah, mow the grass. I mean, I'm not sure if there's not a car in there. I mean, who knows what's in there?
I was looking down into Ward's Creek as I was passing over it not so long ago, and I could see tires. I could see where somebody just pulled up their pickup truck and just emptied it into Ward's Creek. And that is like, I would love to be able to catch these guys and put them in jail.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to priority. I'm sure the guys recognize that. I'm sure that they have other things that they get pulled on to have to do. But again, you need to sit down and see where we are with this, see what the monetary situation is with Public Works, see where they are. But drainage has to be one of the top priorities to try to solve some problems in the city. And
Steve, one of the things that's interesting about East Baton Rouge Parish is we have watched the business, not the central business district, but the business sector of the city just migrate all over the place. It started on Airline, then it was Airline Florida, then it was less Airline and more down Florida, then farther south on Airline. Now it's so far south on Airline, it's in Prairieville, for God's sakes, in the next parish. But in its wake, what we've seen is blight.
Correct.
And empty businesses and parking lots that are full of potholes. What do we do about it? Is there any way Because I see a site selection team, you don't want to take them down Florida Boulevard.
Right.
You don't want them to see that at all unless they're going to buy a bunch of that property
Correct.
and do something with it.
Well, John Nolan has looked at that, and John has some suggestions, and he's on my. I've called him, and we've missed each other, but I think he has some suggestions and ideas. But you're absolutely correct. The blight, which leads to drugs, that leads to property that has weeds and Lord knows what else is in there, needs to be resolved, because our city is a great city. When you've got the capital here and you also have Southern and LSU here, you need to make sure that you have the best of the best for those people, because you want those people not to migrate out of state, Southern and LSU, but to stay in state. Mm-hmm. And if they and it goes back again to bike paths. And it goes back again to greenery. Mm-hmm. It just goes back to an awful lot of things. We can talk about all of these things. The problem, again, is we got to prioritize it. Mm-hmm. And we've got to make sure that we have the right people in the right slots that recognize the fact that the mayor and the city council mean business. We want to make sure we clean this city up. We want to make sure that this city, we reduce the crime down to where it's minimal. And you want to make sure that you bring businesses in here. These are priorities. And if you don't do your job, and you're not willing to do it 24 hours a day, then we may have to find somebody else that's going to do it. And in my case, not may, but we will. We've got to find people that love this city as much as we do. That I know y'all love the city, and it can be the very best city it can possibly be.
Some of the priorities are going to be determined by dollars, no doubt about that. You have a council that is running either for election or re-election. Some are going to move to try to be mayor. I don't expect that the council's makeup is going to change in terms of Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. But I do think whoever is mayor is going to have to look at things in that budget that are placed there by individual council members for their individual districts. It's what I call the cookie fund. We're going to give you a nice big cookie. And they're going to have to move that money around somewhere. Don't you think that the budget needs to be kind of scrubbed?
No doubt. Well, I'm not going to say necessarily scrubbed, but it has to have a definite hard look-see at the budget to see where we are. I didn't realize that I was talking to a gentleman the other day that's fairly knowledgeable about the budget. It's sort of like the state budget. There's an awful lot of the budget that's dedicated already. I know in the state, it's a tremendous amount of money that's dedicated, and the legislature had just a small portion of it, then which they could fool with and tinker and do the things that they needed to do. As I understand, that may be the same thing that's happening a little bit with the city government. But you're right. But again, you got to recognize it's politics. They got elected, and they want to take care of their areas. Just like in the legislature, when you were elected, you want to take care of your area. But again, another key to it is the mayor needs to make sure that they visit each other on the city council and have a working relationship. Talk to them about what their priorities are, talk to you about what the mayor's priorities are, and make sure we get on the same page and we do whatever is necessary to where both are satisfied. It's very difficult when you got the city council over here trying to do what they think is right and the mayor over here where they think is right, and it may be easier said than done, but you are going to have some new people on there, and you need the mayor, whoever it might be, needs to get to those people, talk to them, see what their priorities are, and see what they can do to work together.
Steve, I'm going to hit you with one last question because we're running out of time, but St. George, it's a big sore toe in the parish right now. The people of St. George got their petition, they got their vote, they've had their say, they're being blocked in court. How do you feel about St. George?
Well, again, I did not live in St. George. Mm-hmm. When I ran for the Senate, I was at St. George's in the district. Mm-hmm. And I knocked on a lot of doors. But it's interesting, they didn't have a whole lot of people ask me about St. George when I ran. And I knocked on a ton of doors in St. George and all over the senatorial district. But like you said, right now, the people have spoken. Right now, it's in court. I think what we have to do is to allow the courts to run through the system, find out what the end result is going to be, mm-hmm. and whatever that end result is going to be, we need to get both parties together, our city and St. George, and make sure whatever it is that we can do to have everybody work together, care about each other, and make this a great city. That's what we have to do.
Work with them rather than against them.
That's correct.
Steve Carter, a former state representative, is running for mayor, one of 8 candidates in the race, including the incumbent. And we will visit again with Steve and the other candidates as we move forward. But we're going to say, Steve, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
And we wish everybody who comes and sits here good luck in their campaign. We'll be back with more in a minute on Exiles TV.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Fruget Jr., and I am a general dentist at Fruget Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bug Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Coming up to the top of the hour. In our next hour, we're going to have an in-person visit with Houston Michael Aaron. Now, we call him Mike. But he is a very interesting type of attorney. And from what I've heard from colleagues in the legal profession, he's something of a legend because he is a mediator. And you may need a mediator at some point to settle a dispute, to keep it out of court. But he's also going to talk about, during COVID, he's been getting referral after referral, phone call after phone call while people are stuck at home. He's going to kind of talk about that a little bit, and then what a mediator really does. So that's in our next hour. Stick around for that.
Wanted to mention, first of all, thank you to Steve Carter for coming and spending some time with us. And I didn't even give him any problem about his new knee. He's working on a new artificial knee that has got about 6 weeks under him. And I also did want to let you know that the incumbent in this race is Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome. Bill and I have reached out to her office on several occasions. The official word from her people right now is that thank you, but she wants to concentrate her time and her efforts on leading the parish through the health crisis. And once it seems like there's an end to that, which no end to that nonsense, in my opinion. But there'll probably come a time when Ms. Broom can see fit to come on the program.
She is the incumbent in the office, running it full time at the moment, and so she's going to have to pick her spot. So that's fine. Whenever she says she can come on, we will have her come on. It's just that simple.
Looking at a dramatic aerial shot of the port at Beirut, Lebanon, before and after. Just a few days before the explosion, and then the day after the explosion, and it's breathtaking. It's like there's a huge crater where an entire warehouse used to stand.
It's interesting that they're showing these aerials now. And they started showing them yesterday. And yesterday, of course, was the anniversary of dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. And they showed some photos, and of course, they were kind of grainy black and white photos from 1945. But the way the rubble pile is and the devastation, nobody has quantified yet the power of a contained blast in a silo with 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, but it's got to be close to the yield of a very low kiloton nuclear weapon.
And there were those that when they saw that mushroom cloud over Beirut, they thought, is this significant that we are observing the Hiroshima anniversary? Some people have speculated it may be the largest non-atomic explosion in modern history. I don't know. I don't know. There, like I said, Tianjin, China was another huge explosion of the same nature, where material that isn't under normal circumstances in storage considered to be dangerous, but if you mishandle it or treat it badly, boom, up it goes. In this case, they got it wet, and a whole warehouse with a leak. Imagine a warehouse full of stuff you don't want to get wet with a leaking roof.
Yeah, there's something that's really, really fishy about the way the people operate that port. 6 years. That stuff had been sitting there.
You would think that something that hazardous would not be sitting there. Again, one of the popular theories is that Hezbollah had been stockpiling the ammonium nitrate in order to do some kind of a manure bomb type attack, an Oklahoma City type attack, only against an Israeli target. There also was a rumor that there were cruise missiles in amongst all that other ammonium nitrate, and could the cruise missiles have somehow caused the explosion?
Well, there's something real fishy about this. So this is interesting. Lane Hardy, a local favorite in this area.
Yeah, I know Lane.
Won American Idol, and
good guy. Met his mom too.
Yeah,
she's a nice lady.
We've all talked about careers being disrupted because of COVID, and we're usually thinking of athletes. We're talking about high school seniors that can't have a college scout. He is now he has been selected to sing the national anthem for this Sunday's opening of the NASCAR Cup Series at Michigan International Speedway. He has not had any kind of personal appearances or anything like that because of COVID. And when you are a young, hot star, the worst thing that can happen is that you drop off everybody's radar.
Yep. But what are you going to do? You can't do live and there are only so many virtual concerts an artist can do before people just kind of get like, I'm sitting at my computer, I'm watching you play and sing. That's nice.
Well, since
maybe a little, drop a little money via, Venmo or PayPal or something like that. But these guys need an audience. They need to perform.
This is the start of the NASCAR Cup Series, so it'll be televised.
Good.
So we'll get to see Lane on national television. I believe Fox Network has that.
He's a good and earnest young man. I wish him a lot of success.
And he's a good singer and a good guitarist, but boy, I mean, you want to talk, and he's not the only one, but got the rug pulled out by this pandemic.
Oh, look, dude, my Facebook friends list is full of artists who are just hoping for the day that
and you
bars and venues will reopen so they can get out and perform again.
His parents support him, and they got great names. Barry and Cindy Lou.
We met Cindy Lou. She's a sweetheart.
And I'm thinking, I would love to hear Barry actually talk like Barry White and say, come on, Cindy Lou, just get back in the truck.
Stop it. All right, it's time for our top of the hour break. Hour 2 of Exiles TV is coming right up. Stay right there.
Stick around.
Get back in the truck, baby.
Get back in the truck.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back. It's Exiles TV, Hour 2. Glad to have you with us. I was just perusing some news here, Bill, and we have a congressional race in District 5 that is wide open because our friend Dr. Ralph Abraham is leaving Congress. Is that a retirement after only 6 years? Do you consider it?
Well,
he gets to collect congressional retirement.
I think you have to consider his age. I think it's a retirement.
But he gets to collect congressional retirement for the rest of his days. Which
so does the kissing congressman.
Pretty fat.
Yeah. No.
The fact that
he didn't get it.
No, if you serve a full term, you get your retirement.
But he didn't serve a full term.
Or did he step down?
No, after they showed him tongue wrestling with his secretary in the vestibule of his congressional office.
It wasn't his secretary. It was his friend's wife.
Oh, even
his
better.
Friend's wife. But anyway, Lance Harris.
I'm thinking they're not close anymore. What do you think?
Lance Harris is a state representative who wants that job. He is the guy who. You remember when at the beginning of Black Lives Matter several years ago with like Ferguson and things like that, he passed the state's Blue Lives Matter law that would there'd be certain aggravations for crimes committed against
never
law
one
enforcement
to pass
officers.
a useless platitude.
Well, you know, I've often wondered why we need new laws that cover things that are already in the law books, things like assault and
we don't
those sorts of things, but. Here's at nationalpolice.org. Author of first ever Blue Lives Matter law running for Congress tells lawmen, I've got your six. Oh, you know, I don't want to get off into slamming Lance Harris. Because I don't really know Lance Harris. When I covered the legislature, I got some exposure to him and watched him do his thing. He always struck me as the kind of guy that, like, the director calls Central Casting and says, I need the guy who can step right into the role of your typical corrupt Southern politician.
There you go.
Send me an actor, and they send you Lance Harris.
He never, ever, ever passes by a cliche. I'm surprised he didn't beat Kenny Havard to the no fat chicks rule.
It's like Central Casting. I want the guy who's got the Jerry Falwell hair.
Oh yeah,
and wears cheap suits that are like pastel colors, and I don't know. I don't have anything in particular against Lance Harris. I just, when he ran for Congress, I went, of course.
We got to respect.
Of course.
Our men and women in uniform, all of them.
Of course.
Including the good humor man, Lance.
Part of the problem in Congress right now is that there's too many conservatives in Congress that are willing to go on the record saying really stupid stuff.
Oh, God. Unnecessary things.
Mm-hmm.
Unnecessary things.
And I just don't think we need any more of that. Now, maybe I'm prejudiced because, you and I know Luke, the guy who worked for Congressman Abraham, and is now running for his boss's job.
Yeah.
I think Luke's pretty level on the level and sharp character.
Yeah.
Am I making an endorsement in that race? No.
No, I'm just saying we happen to know of one of them and know one of them. But I mean, I'm tired.
I've got your 6, he tells law enforcement.
I am tired of all these politicians with these pronouncements, and I'm even more tired of the gullible who don't look past that and believe them. I won't vote for him because he supports police. Do the other ones not? I mean, he tossed out a cliche in front of a microphone.
I got your 6.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. That's military talk.
Yeah. It just, we have become, if you don't think America has gotten dumber, you know what the number one syndicated program in America is, right?
Family Feud?
Family Feud.
I love it.
All you have to do is watch.
I love it.
All you have to do is watch one episode and you'll go, damn, we are a stupid country.
We are all collectively more stupid for having watched it.
It starts with the host. I'm your man, Steve Harvey. If you're my man, get out and cut my grass.
Wow. Did you just say that?
Yeah.
I like Steve Harvey.
I like him too, but I mean, he fractures the language, and everybody says, "Okay, they're all here trying to win themselves some cash."
Well, themselves is.
And somebody might drive out here in a brand new car, and then you get the people. Your example. Name a man's name that starts.
That was a classic.
Starts with H, and he says,
"Jose, Steve,"
and they're so proud of it.
He was triumphant.
If you
he'd gotten the rush on the buzzer and everything, Jose,
if
Steve.
you don't think we are the bastion of stupidity in this country, I dare you, watch Family Feud.
I'm going to bring up one more news item here as I scroll through my news feed. This is from Minneapolis, Minnesota, where they're in the process of doing away with their police force.
Yeah, right.
Because of the actions of 3 cops. Okay? Now they're telling people, the police department is telling people in Minneapolis, be prepared to give up your cell phone, your purse, and your wallet if asked. Carry less cash on you. Don't argue or fight with a criminal. Do exactly as they say.
And who is saying this?
And you know what? Your chances of being shot anyway, especially, I'm sorry, if you're white, have only gone down this much.
Who is making this pronouncement?
Minneapolis Police Department.
The chief has issued this?
It says tips for Minneapolis residents from Minneapolis Police Department. This is an on-screen graphic from the local Fox affiliate.
They ought to buy spots in Family Feud. It'd be the perfect place to have that stupidity.
Be prepared to give up your cell phone and your purse or wallet. Carry less cash. Do not argue or fight with the criminal. Do as they say.
But isn't that what police departments have been telling victims of strong-armed robbery and armed robbery since the 50s? Your wallet is not worth dying for. Give it to them. They've been saying that since the 50s.
In the 1980s, Marianne and I went to a crime, one of these, what can you as a citizen do to help not be a victim? And this was in New Orleans with New Orleans police and some FBI guys. And this is what they told us. Everything you just heard, just comply. Just comply, don't die, give them your wallet, give them whatever they want. But they said, in this city, by the way, if your assailant is a teenager, your chances of being shot no matter what you do have just gone through the ceiling.
Yep.
No matter how cooperative you are, you're liable to get shot anyway. Or stabbed or whatever it is that they're using to coerce you out of your money.
It is an individual thing. I understand that. but I have believed, going back to the days of hijacking airliners. Oh, we're going to go to Cuba. Yeah, it'll be fun. Everybody was told, cooperate, and nobody said, except a few of us, including me, one of these days, one of these bozos is going to be on an airplane with 4 or 5 Confederates, and they're going to use it as a missile. And when 9/11 happened, everybody in government and the airlines went, oh, hell. We've been telling our flight crew, cooperate with them. Do what they say. Don't try to fight back. You got 148 people on an airplane. Chances are at that hour of the morning, about 70% of them are men and under the age of 45. Take them out. Lest they take out 2 buildings and thousands of people.
I was going to say the 9/11 hijackings happened because nobody on that plane wanted to risk being cut by a razor blade.
Mm-hmm.
By a razor blade. It's sad.
Well,
so what you had was a plane full of people. It might have been a force collectively, but individually they were all afraid of getting hurt.
Well, and the flight crew,
and so they all died.
The flight crew was saying, "Just do what they say. We'll probably go into Cuba or something, and then we'll be fine. Just do what they say." You know, that is institutionalized stupidity, and always has been.
All right, Bill. It's time for another break. Let's take care of some business. Mediation, legal mediation.
Maybe you and I should mediate our stance on hijacking.
Maybe so.
What do you think?
Booming business in the age of COVID. Does that surprise you? We're going to talk about that later in the program. Exiles TV returns in just a moment.
You want to take Mike now?
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hey, welcome back. Exiles TV returns with Bill Profita over there. I'm Kevin Gallagher over here, and joining us in the middle, we just call him Mike. I want to make sure I get the name right. Help me out, Bill.
Houston Michael Aaron Esquire. We call him Mike.
Okay, I got to ask, though. Aaron is a cool name, cool last name to have. Your first name's Houston. Why would you want to go by Mike? Houston's such a cool name.
Because my grandfather was named Houston, and she named me that, but then she just started calling me Mike instead of Michael. The story was she swears that when she named me Michael, that there was not a single other Michael. But then when I went to school in Franklinton, there wasn't but
every other kid.
We had, in 40 or 45 kids, we had 4 or 5 named Michael in my class.
Well, I was like that. In the year of my birth, the most popular men's name was William. And I went to a Catholic school that was overcrowded. We had 2 first grade classes. One had 55, one had 58. And if you said, "Hey, Bill," 12 people answered.
Yeah. Almost like that.
So when Bill told me that we were going to have you on, and he explained the topic, he said, mediation is booming in COVID. Now, is it the obvious thing that a lot of courts are not open? So if you want to reach the end of a dispute, you have to mediate?
Well, it's the COVID problem has, let me give you an example, is when they finally decided to shut everything down around mid-March, it essentially just practically wiped everything out in terms of court for March, pretty much April and May.
Mm-hmm.
So it even delayed all of my mediations. All of a sudden, I looked down at my calendar, and normally I had nothing for 2.5 months. And the courts are just now trying to get around to figure out what to do. And of course, they don't know, because from one week to the next, are we going to open up a little more? Are we going to stay closed, or what are we going to do? And for example, several weeks ago, some lady in family court in Baton Rouge walked in, and she basically threw up in the hallway, as I understand. Well, they panicked and shut down the courthouse for 2 days until they could clean up. I mean, literally ran everybody out and said, "Don't come back till next week."
Over a bad taco, probably.
Yeah. So anyway.
Mike, for those who have never, there are some people that have work contracts and they may see mediation, the word. But what does an attorney who is a mediator do, and how does somebody know if they need you, or do they get to choose you, or does the court choose you? How does this all work?
Just to give a little background, I went for my mediation training about 12 years ago. I went to Boston to a place called the Boston Collaborative. So my training is a little bit different from most of the people around here. Then I went back twice for what they call advanced training after that. And mediation has to be agreed by the parties. Now, the judges in Louisiana can order it in certain instances. And generally they order it because it's either gotten very messy, or you've got some crazy set of facts, or in case of community property, dividing up the property, it's kind of complicated, and they at least want you to try to take a stab to sort of get it a little easier, or a little more simple. But the parties generally agree to do it, because we can cover a lot more ground and in a much more simple manner than court. Court's very formal. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to discuss some sort of financial documents. Well, in court, you have to literally, each one has to be shown to the party, identified. You got to mark it. The judge has to accept it. There's usually some little discussion. So if you can imagine introducing hundreds of pages, could take hours, days. Whereas in mediation, everybody exchanges copies, everybody looks at them, and what you can maybe go over several hundred pages in 30 minutes. So it saves time, saves money.
How much of the job is separating emotion from fact?
That is a very good question, because that's actually part of the job, is to do that. Part of the thing about mediation is it's getting people involved in what we call the process, which is the actual mediation of people exchanging ideas and having conversations. And so if you get them engaged in the process, the theory is that when you come out with a result, because they've been actively involved. Now, you understand, in court, you're just sitting there. And the lawyers are doing all the interaction, the judge is doing all this, and the client is just sitting there. But in mediation, they're actively involved. So The idea is you come out with a better result, and you come out with them feeling better about the result.
Let's say, what I'm getting to is how long are you tethered to these people? For example, you mediate somebody's child custody agreement.
Right.
You know, every other weekend and the first 2 weeks of June in the summer, and you get Thanksgiving and you get Christmas, and everybody agrees.
Right.
All right, we got the lockdown from COVID. Kaboom. And it's supposed to be...
She's not letting me see my kid.
It's supposed to be her weekend.
Yep.
And she's saying he doesn't feel good about driving the kids, 70 miles, or whatever, because we're supposed to be staying at home. Are these people still your responsibility? They call you and say, what do we do?
Sometimes, actually, yes. I did get some calls from people wanting me to help them figure out what to do. And what you're talking about happened, it was practically instantaneous.
Really?
That all of a sudden you had, well, think about this. You have the wife they're divorced, the husband's a doctor. What if their husband's an emergency room doctor? How exposed is he? What happens when he has the kids? Or what if the ex-wife is a nurse? Or, what if the guy works for EMS, emergency medical services? And so all these people were just kind of all over the place. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how exposed their other spouse was going to be. Was it going to expose the kids? And so we had weekly problems. And I did get calls from some people, and I did sort of help two couples kind of get through the crisis, because one was in the medical field and one wasn't.
So and I guess you kind of have to do this over the phone in situations like we had.
Yes.
And is it easier when they're face-to-face in the same room with you?
We generally don't. Most of the mediations I do, we separate. We have one room with the lawyer and his client, the other room a lawyer and that client. And we generally only come together at the very end when we're trying to close the deal. And that's only maybe a very small percentage of the cases.
Now, in the age of COVID, are you using telepresence like Zoom, Skype, things like this, where you might normally be having a face-to-face?
I've done, the ones I have done like that have generally been one of the parties and their lawyer come into my office, and the other one and their lawyer is in the other lawyer's office, and we do it by Zoom.
I want to talk about keeping people out of court, but we have to take a break. We're going to pay some bills. We are visiting with attorney Mike Aaron. He specializes in mediation, and kind of walk you through what it's like to go through a mediation and how you can stay out of court if you use mediation when we continue on Exiles TV. Stick around.
That's a good.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
State Treasurer John Schroeder, encouraging you to visit latreasury.com to search for your unclaimed property money. During this pandemic, we've returned money to businesses, local governments, and people across Louisiana.
New Orleans Habitat for Humanity found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Treasury.
Audubon Nature Institute has unclaimed property.
I found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Department of Treasury.
We still have over $800 million. This is your money. Claim it.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Hey, we're back. It's Exiles TV. I'm Kevin. He's Bill, and our guest is H. Michael Aaron. Mike, he is an attorney, and he specializes in mediation of legal disputes. A lot of them are family-type situations.
Mostly family.
During the break, though, you mentioned that sometimes it's other things that can get a little hinky.
And I also do some property disputes, but believe it or not, and then some what we call successions, which is mom or dad dies.
Which is, again, family, but a different
right.
dynamic.
Mm-hmm. And those are really probably the craziest.
Daddy's dying, who's got the will?
Who's got the will, and then in fact, one of the strangest ones I ever did, I went to meet with the lawyers. One represented one set of siblings, and one represented the other set of siblings. And so we did the typical thing, discussing it and everything. I said, well, which office do y'all want to do the mediation in? And they're going, well, we're going to have to separate them. I said, that's okay, I understand. I said, but which office? They said, no, you don't understand. We can't put them in the same building.
Oh, my goodness.
So I had to go and meet with one group in one lawyer's office. I would have to get in my car, drive around the corner to the other lawyer's office.
That's ridiculous.
And meet with them, and then I would drive back. So I went back and forth as we settled it, though.
Wow.
People can be very uncivil when it comes to family and emotions. And I will bet you, if you haven't had one, you're going to have one where there is going to be a battle to the death over who gets the dog.
Not quite that bad, but we were down to, in that one and another one, we were literally down to tools in a shed.
Tools in the shed?
Tools in the shed, daddy's tools. And miscellaneous whatnots, all of which were like the value was garage sale value.
Mm-hmm. So again, we're talking about emotions coming into play.
Yes,
here.
Exactly what you said.
Well, Kevin and I, this is an LLC, Exiles Productions. We are an
Business
LLC,
partners.
which we can bring other people in,
right?
But it's just the two of us. So let's say during political season, all the politicians want to buy the million homes that we cover on cable systems.
Okay.
And we make a lot of money during political season.
All right.
And
I would love that scenario.
I would too. But I'd say, you know what, Kevin? I'm going to take my money and I'm going to leave. And Kevin says, no, you're not going to take your money and leave.
You have a fiduciary responsibility to this LLC.
So do we end up with you figuring out how we do this and both feel like we've come out of it okay?
Yes, you could. Probably what would happen in that example would be you would each hire a lawyer, and then y'all would probably start before you would come to me. Mm-hmm. You would go through some mechanics, and and try to negotiate a deal first. And then at that point is when you would come to me. You would be kind of down the road.
But I guess it would also be a way that we don't have to end up in district court arguing over who bought this digital clock and who bought this microphone cable and all that other stuff. We could kind of simplify it and be reasonable if we wanted to be reasonable.
Yes, and give you an example: trial versus mediation. There's some rules. For example, if you go and you try an 8-hour case one day in court, you multiply that by 4 or 5 or more. So if you want to figure out what it's going to cost you to go try a case, if you got 8 hours in court, multiply it by 4 or 5. So that's somewhere between 30 to 40 hours. And if your lawyer's charging $300 an hour, say, then that gives you an idea of what it's going to cost you.
So $12,000 already. Yeah.
Oh, at least plus costs.
Mm-hmm. This fly on the set keeps landing on me, and I'm wondering, is it a judgment of my character?
So
maybe you need a better deodorant.
You know what flies like.
So mediation, that's all right. So mediation, you're talking about really minimal preparation because everything's so informal. So maybe only a few hours, and then 8 hours of mediation. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can do it. You can actually do more subject matter than you can do in a trial. Trials are very formal.
Give me an example of one that went on forever.
Well, one of the other things I do in mediations is I do people that have some examples they're still living together, mm-hmm. but they have come to the conclusion that they want to get divorced, or they've in fact just separated, but they haven't hired lawyers yet. So they come in, and I do those in a different manner than I do the ones with attorneys. Those we will meet sometimes like only for a few hours, maybe over the span of 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 weeks, mm-hmm. trying to get them to come to an agreement, and rather than rushing them through with one giant meeting of 8 hours or 2 days or whatever, then you meet casually for only an hour or two, break, come back the next week, meet a little bit. And those people during that period are generally, I'd say probably 2/3 of them are still living together.
How are land disputes in mediation different from these kind of family matters?
Those that they're just as emotional. You're talking, most of those are boundary disputes. Mm-hmm. It's they can't figure out. I've got one coming up where it has to do with the road and where the road was built. It wasn't built in exactly the right place, and now they're trying to figure out, because after the road got built, it's more on one party's land than the other, mm-hmm. and they want to adjust the road. And the lawyers can reach an agreement, the parties can't reach an agreement.
Okay.
So in fact, I've got to go down, it's in Ascension Parish, and I've got to go down in the next few weeks and inspect the road. So
wait a minute, say it again. The lawyers can reach an agreement.
Lawyers have reached an agreement.
But the parties can't.
Parties won't. They won't agree.
So okay.
Well, and that was where I
that's
was
back to what you said.
Yeah.
The motions.
Going to ask you next. I mean, if you go into mediation and everybody agrees, and you walk away, what if somebody decides to double cross you and say, you know what, I thought about it, I still want to sue that SOB?
Yeah.
Well, if most of the time, probably the vast majority, I say vast majority, my success rate is around 85, 90%.
It's pretty good.
That's
probably around 75 or 80% of that percent, or the vast majority of that, they walk out with a document that has been signed. So there's no change in your mind. Once you've signed that document, it's just as if a judge rendered a decision. So we have very few of those, and most of the ones, even the ones that the lawyers and I and the parties can't reach an agreement, is we make headway. And I would say in a large percentage of those cases, they're able to settle it.
Now, you said 85, 90%, so that's roughly 10 to 15% have not worked out. I'm nosy, okay?
Right.
If it doesn't work out, who pays, and how difficult is it for you to get paid?
Oh, I get paid.
You have to send a collection agency after? No, you didn't get me crap, Mike. I'm not paying you.
No, usually because I get paid by the lawyers. The lawyers get the money, and then I get paid. So getting paid is really not that difficult.
So when you talk about need, as opposed to want, there are a great many family lawyers, and I believe they're right, that everybody needs a will. If you've only got $20 in your checking account, you still need to have a will, because you have other property and other interests that you may wish to protect. when people sign an employment agreement that says, disputes may be mediated, does everybody at least need to know that folks like you exist, or maybe just have your business card in their, in their computer, because everybody may need a mediator at some point or another?
I would probably guess the average person would probably never really need a mediator. I'm just guessing. Most of those, even though a lot of those things, I know what you're talking about, those contracts that say, mediation's required. Now, also the ones that say arbitration is required, which is the big contracts. And real quick, I'll tell you the difference between arbitration and mediation. Arbitration is required, either by contract or court orders arbitration in certain instances, usually the federal court. You go and the arbitrator will make a decision as if he is the judge. You cannot agree with it, and he's still going to render a decision just like a judge does. Mediation, I can't force you to do anything. You have to agree to it. So the idea is to get you to come together and meet somewhere in the middle. So,
can you preemptively, would it be in your interest if this fly is
the damn fly, I swear to God.
Marty, at least your pet. But if you got a couple that maybe hasn't been married that long and they've decided it hasn't worked out, would it be a good idea for them to go into mediation first to make it a little less arduous when they actually go for the formal divorce?
I would say yes. Now here's a trend. You mentioned that real quick, short relationships. The trend now is, even 20 years ago, we had very few couples that had children and they were not married. I'm going to say,
they all do.
At the rate we're going now, it's going to be 50%, not too long. More and more and more mediations are involving the kids, and that creates a whole different complex set of problems.
Help me out with a little. How is it more complicated if there was no marriage covenant between the two?
Well, if there's no marriage, then of course there's no. If they've been together a while, and say it's a typical old-fashioned relationship, the wife's not working, she's staying home with the kids mostly, and the husband is not. Let me rephrase that. The mama is staying home.
And the other partner.
And the other one is got a job.
That's not assigned gender, Mike.
Yeah.
We don't want to trigger anyone out there.
And the husband's working, the father's working at Exxon, and then when they split up, there's no community. So if he's been paying all the bills and acquiring all the assets, she gets nothing. Or if she gets no spousal support, she gets child support. All that's the same.
And none of the benefits of the pension.
Oh, none. Zero.
Does Louisiana still recognize common law marriage?
No.
So they don't?
We never have.
Never have?
Never have.
I had no idea.
No, we don't have. In fact, most states are doing, it's funny you mention that. I have a case right now in East Feliciana in which I have to file the suit first to have the judge determine if they had a common law marriage in South Carolina. So I have a judge in Louisiana going to rule whether or not this couple has a South Carolina marriage, and then can he divorce the South Carolina couple the wife is now living in Louisiana.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like a mess.
It is a mess.
It sounds like good hourly billing.
But we've never ever, we're one of the few states that has never historically, because of our French tradition.
Is this a growing part of a law practice, mediation?
Yes, there's probably, and the most of it is really in the plaintiff personal injury. I mean, there's I don't know how many of those guys. There's probably 20, 30 more. Those guys that primarily do that.
Judging by the advertising volume, it would appear that it's a fertile field.
Yes.
We need to take another quick commercial break. Just give us about 3 minutes and we'll be right back. This fascinating topic, when does it go to mediation? We're going to talk more with Mike Aaron in just a moment on Exiles.
We come back on my ad.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances. Your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With private healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you with us. By the way, replay, 10 o'clock tonight. It'll be on YouTube in 3 or 4 hours, so you can tell your friends. And, of course, you can stream it anytime you want if you go to Pelican Sports TV. Mm-hmm. That's the streaming location.
And I also arranged to, all these programs also go up on our YouTube page, which is The Morning Exiles. Not on YouTube, I beg your pardon, Facebook. Look for us on The Morning Exiles, and you'll be able to link to these programs as well as our podcasts.
We're talking with attorney at law and professional mediator, Mike Aaron. And Mike, I gotta wonder, there are people, we all know people, we know people that get married every 4 or 5 years, which means they get divorced every 4 or 5 years. And
they're in love with falling in love.
Well, and they have the detritus of romantic life. They've got kids, they got cars, they got houses. Do you have any frequent flyers? People that you've had as repeat people?
As a lawyer?
Yeah.
Yes. As a mediator, well, actually, I've had the repeats have been I mediated their initial issues like custody, community property, and then they'll have issues that'll come on down the road. Maybe one child turns 18, they have to renegotiate child support. So I've had those, and some if you want to call those frequent flyers. I've had some of those come in 2 or 3 times later.
Can you tell us?
I can't mention names.
No, you can't mention names. Can you tell us the case where you said, "Why did I ever decide to do this"?
No, I really had. Really, the ones, even if they're strange, they're interesting, and it kind of keeps you going. And so none of them I would say are really. I've had a couple of strange ones, like had to mediate a couple of cases in which the couple was swingers.
Oh, okay. The couple was a group.
Couple had enjoyed groups, and then I did one where the guy was obviously not. Let's just say that he was on some sort of stimulus when we were doing the mediation, and so we had a few of those.
Not federal stimulus.
Yeah, no, not the federal stimulus, and we had to break that one up. And then I had one where the fellow was had been told that he was an alcoholic, and he denied it, and we started the mediation. And at a break, there was a little break, and he leaves and comes back, and he has apparently drank a full pint of vodka.
Lord!
And so he went to sleep during the mediation, and we let him sleep, and then we kept doing the mediation, and he kind of woke up, and we finished it.
Your way? Good. Gave everything to your ex.
No, we can't do that. So we've had some crazy experience.
Have you ever had the Hallmark movie ending where a couple of sessions in or a couple of hours in?
I was wondering about this.
Yeah,
too.
they look at you and say, "Mike, thanks so much. We don't need you anymore. We're going to reconcile.
We love each other."
No, I've never had a reconciliation during the mediation. I've had them reconcile
afterwards.
Afterwards, the mediation.
Ain't love grand?
But believe it or not, the reconciliation. You have to stay apart now a year basically if you have kids.
Okay.
If you don't have kids, it's 6 months, and most people once they hit that stage of where they, I can tell people all the time, nobody goes to bed on Friday, happily married, wakes up on Saturday, wants a divorce. It's a process, and where they're doing it and speaking to other people are doing it, them subconsciously are doing it to themselves. So the percentage of people that actually reconcile after divorce is small. So our legislature wants you to stay apart a year if you have kids. That's not going to prevent divorce.
But kids aside, if it was just a matter of mediating who gets what,
right,
and then they decide after mediation, oh, we love each other, we're moving back in together. What are the legal ramifications of commingling all that stuff again?
Well, if they're already divorced, generally they're divorced by this point.
Yeah, I'm just talking about you separated the property and the cars and the goods.
If they get back together, they would have to enter into another contract to put everything back in the community, or they would just continue to live for that purpose, for just the property, was if they were not married.
We used to work with 2 people that remarried their ex-spouses, and I didn't want to know. I had no curiosity as to why.
I knew a fellow, I lived for a while in Natchez, Mississippi, and not that long, only about 8 years, and he married the same woman 3 times.
Wow.
That means he divorced her twice. 3 times.
So, in your experience, and I know this isn't scientific, which do people get more emotional about in a mediation? Their kids or their stuff?
Mostly the kids.
Well, that's good to know.
Once in a while, and usually the stuff they get emotional about is not. It's not like they're arguing over the $100,000 CD.
They're arguing over the LSU football tickets, maybe.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. Oh God.
Or actually, the dog.
The dog.
Yeah.
What about a situation where maybe one spouse has a valuable collection of something that the other spouse cares not about, but wants to have it just to piss you off?
It's leverage, yeah.
Believe it or not, those are still very rare. I can't recall one.
Like, for instance, Bill has an extensive wine collection. He has a wine cellar with hundreds of bottles of wine. Now, God forbid anything should happen to you, Karen, but what if Karen says, I'm going to take your damn wine?
Well, the way it would work,
There would be a problem.
Yeah. I mean, the way the property works is you just add up the value of the assets, and then the judge, if you go to court, if you can't decide what to do with it, you add up the value of your assets. And then the judge has the duty or the right to just disperse them however they want. So, for example, in that case, the judge could say, okay, Bill gets the wine collection, and then I'm going to give Karen something of equal value. Or the judge could theoretically just say, I'm going to split the wine down the middle. Karen gets half and you get half.
That's never going to happen with Bill and Karen.
But it's better to work it out,
Yes.
as you say, in private rather than where it's all rules of evidence and all that in the court.
So you can understand that when you go to court, everything you file is public record. And everybody can go to the courthouse and get a copy of everything you file.
Including the depositions and all that?
Well, depositions are held by the lawyers, but if they're introduced into the evidence, then yes. And under certain circumstances, I mean, anything.
Are there ever redactions?
No. There's been politicians and people of importance, let's say, that have tried to get their record sealed. And sometimes it gets done, but if anybody challenges it, it would probably be undone.
Wow.
That is really.
I could think of some divorce cases I'd love to rifle through.
Oh, yeah. I might have to go and look at a couple.
And you can. And that's true of anywhere. Doesn't matter which parish.
I can think of 3 or 4 that I'd like to look at.
You might be surprised.
I didn't realize you like to wear Speedo underwear.
I mean, God rest his soul, just a couple of Al Copelands would make for some interesting reading.
God. Mike, before we let you go, if someone thinks that they may have need of your professional services, do they have to be referred by their attorney, or can they just call your office?
No, they can call my office. I'll talk to them. And that's the ones I'm telling you where the couples may even still be living together. And we'll work out a plan and kind of see what the issues are, work out a plan. And we generally, like I said, a lot of those I meet in the afternoon, like after work. So we may meet for a couple of hours this week, and then we would come back the next week, schedule another one. We might go, the average is probably, I'd say 4 meetings, maybe 5 or 6, depending on what all we cover. And so they wouldn't need a lawyer. But at some point they will, because they'll have to file the actual pleadings to get the divorce, et cetera. But
I'm curious as to financial status. I mean, is people of all walks of life go into this, or is it mostly people who've got a little something accumulated?
No, it's I would say it's pretty across the board. I mean, because you have to remember, even though you're paying me, it's a lot cheaper than having to pay a lawyer to go to court, probably just a fraction of that cost. And the lawyers like it because most of the lawyers that I know that I mediate for that do a lot of family work, they're fairly busy. So,
Well, it's so funny because all of our lawyer buddies who come on the show for their different expertise, people like Franz Borghardt and Brian Johnson, they say, oh, Mike's great. He's the best. So
thank you.
Apparently your peer group likes what you do.
And this is an area of the law that this is our first discussion of this area of the law. With all the lawyers we've talked to, 6 years on the radio, television, podcasts, this is our first discussion of mediation. It's fascinating.
When you get ready to sue me, call Mike first.
Be happy to mediate you too, guys.
What's the phone number, or how are you listed online or in other directories?
It's under Mike Aaron, or H. Michael Aaron, and my number is 336-3000.
336-3000.
Very easy to remember.
Well, I tell you what, it is a great look behind the curtain for us and for our viewers, because I think a lot of us have heard the term, and we maybe thought what it meant, but now we have a better idea.
Much better idea.
Of what it really means. H. Michael Aaron, attorney at law. He specializes in mediation, and his offices are here in Baton Rouge, but he practices in the entire metro area. So if you think you might need a mediator, find his number, 336-3000. Give him a call. Back in a moment. Mike, thanks for being with us.
Thank y'all.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For Total Pest Control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
They're snapping away.
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
We are back on
Yikes.
Exiles TV. Attorney and mediator Mike Aaron on the set with us. We've only got like a minute and a half left. So I want to remind you, we have our podcast tomorrow morning, live from La Divina, starting around 8 a.m. We're usually a couple minutes after 8 because they can't open as early as they used to, which means we can't get in and set up. But anyway, yeah, if you follow us, you know we come on a couple minutes after 8, and we hope you will join us for that as well. Tuesday, if I'm remembering correctly, on this program on Tuesday, we are going to have John Davis.
John Davis is our friend that I'm hard-pressed to remember the name of his company, but John Davis is spearheading the production and the sale of legal medical marijuana in the state of Louisiana. We're going to get an update on that. There were some changes and expansions of what medical marijuana can be used to treat.
And the new law took effect on Monday.
It did. So what's new with medical marijuana? And if you want to get that, how do you go about making that happen?
And Stephen Wagasback, President and CEO of LABI, will be joining us. Again, in election season, they don't sit on their hands there. They start interviewing candidates for offices all over the state, and they are going to have their thoughts, and eventually they will have their endorsements of candidates to share with you from the business perspective. We're going to talk about the little toe just in the water on that one. So until that time, join us for the podcast tomorrow, and have a very, very good weekend. Stay safe.
And may God bless. Take care.
Take good care of yourselves. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Bye-bye.